big hello from London. Mark is away on a business trip, so I'll start the commentary from London. There's a lot to go through this week, as we not only have last week's weekly key reversals to look at, but also with the start of October, the monthly key reversals for September to review. So I'll start with the currencies, and these were a mixed bag with no real common thread, and also a mixed bag of immediate responses as well. We had a significant weekly key reversal down in Euro Swiss last week, with a suitable follow-on lower this week. Likewise, for Euro against Hungarian forint, we had a weekly key reversal up last week, which has also seen a suitable follow-on higher this time this week. However, the weekly key reversal up last week in Euro Romanian Leu has seen, well, nothing, neither higher nor lower. And as for the weekly key reversals down last week in US dollar Taiwanese dollar, US dollar South Korean won, and even US dollar Macedonian dinar, well, Taiwan had an immediate reactionary move back up. South Korea had an initial follow-on lower, but has since reverted back up. I should point out that neither of these managed to move out the top side of last week's range, so there's still a question over them. But for Macedonia, well, there was an immediate reactionary move back up. I'll next move on to the commodities, and it is LME week, London Metals Exchange week in London this week, with the dinner and many miners, smelters, producers, fabricators and all sorts involved in the metals industry in London this week. Plus, of course, all the banks, and we have seen some interesting weekly key reversals there. There was also a weekly key reversal up in spot platinum last week, which, from a relatively low starting point, has seen a significant attempt higher this week, though we are still within last week's range. However, that is not all, as spot platinum also saw a monthly key reversal up for September. And the interesting part of that was, if you look at the daily chart, last week's weekly key reversal up need not have happened, and the market would still have made a monthly key reversal up. So, an interesting situation overall, and one worth keeping an eye open for. I'll next look at the base metals, and we had weekly key reversals up in LME 3-month aluminium and in LME 3-month zinc. LME 3-month aluminium this week started with a reactionary move lower, but we have since turned higher again, such that today we have just edged over last week's highs. LME 3-month zinc has this week a stronger bullish incentive, moving higher straight from the open on Monday, and today making new highs not seen since January 2023, and, most interestingly, punching out through the significant purple highlighted neckline on my daily chart, currently at 31.39, of the September to December 2022 reverse head and shoulders pattern that had capped the market back in May. This is becoming an important moment here, especially if prices can stabilize over the purple neckline. I'll deal with these in greater detail in my weekly metals video commentary published yesterday. Finally, in the weekly section, we had a weekly key reversal up in Chicago corn futures last week, and this has seen a more than a suitable follow-on higher this week, with prices punching through and stabilizing over the November 2020 high at 440, as well as the gold highlighted long moving average, currently 438. Prices have now entered a small congestion era, dating from about March through to mid-June, from the November 2020 high at 440 up to about the lower trendline extension, currently at 465, the old July 23 to January 2024 descending triangle pattern. In truth, it would not surprise me right now if prices make it up to that lower trendline extension. I will deal with this in more detail in tomorrow's weekly oilseeds and vegetable oils video commentary. That concludes the weekly patterns for last week, and I'll now look at the monthly patterns for September. Now, I have already spoken at length about spot platinum earlier, but that was not the only metal that had a monthly key reversal up in September. Nor was it either LME 3-month aluminium or LME 3-month zinc, which I already discussed in the weekly section. No, this time it was a monthly key reversal up in LME 3-month nickel for September. This has had a more than suitable follow-on higher this month already, basing itself on the combination of the mauve medium moving average, currently at 17,275, and the gold long moving average, currently 17,310, such that prices have today tested the psychologically important 18,000 level overhead. This all opens the way for prices to reach up towards the primary target at 18,140, and even perhaps the harder to reach secondary target X1 at 18,665 for the July to date double bottom pattern. Now, I covered this more fully in my weekly metals video commentary, which was published yesterday. I will now discuss what I consider very obvious and in effect low-hanging fruit with regards to monthly patterns. Thus, we had monthly key reversals up in September in the Chinese CSI 300 stock index, the Shinex composite stock index. This one has the added feature of not only being obvious, but also an immediate countering monthly key reversal up. The Shanghai composite index, the Chinese CSI A50 stock index. I suppose you could also include in this the monthly key reversal up seen in the Japanese yen Chinese yuan cross, though there has been only a limited follow-on due to the time of year. Elsewhere, we had a monthly key reversal down in UK gilt futures, which really has seen only a limited follow-on lower. And finally, a monthly key reversal down in the sugar white premium. This had halted at the end of the month at a very significant level, the purple neckline of the February to September 2020 head and shoulders top, which is currently at 76 3/4. This month we are testing below it, and what is more, we are heading for the primary target X down at 65 1/4 for the break out and below the blue highlighted late April to date descending wedge pattern. I am not even going to think about mentioning the secondary harder to the reach target X1 further down, as just thinking about it gets me scared. But I've detailed it in my weekly sugar video commentary published this past Monday. So, altogether, quite a lot to digest there. As always, I'm happy to answer any direct questions with anyone who is interested. With that, I'll finish this section from London, and I hope that you found these comments useful.
Thank you for listening. This weekly broadcast gives the essential market patterns and consequences. Please be aware of the risk disclaimer posted both at the front and at the back of this broadcast. Copyright is Eddie Topic and ADM Investor Service International Limited. And here comes the final important bit.